Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we're going to talk about this story out of the state of California, where 4 people were just arrested for their connection with an insurance fraud scheme that involved one of these participants dressing up as a bear, going into their vehicles and or property, destroying the property in said bear costume while on video, and making a false insurance claim. And the crazy thing about this particular story, other than literally everything that I just said, is the fact that they would have gotten away with it if not for the fact that they kept doing it. They kept making these fraudulent claims, and eventually the insurance companies took notice of it, and now they're facing serious jail time. Now, we're going to get into this. We're going to uncover this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
Their cars were damaged and bear attacks are now in jail. NBC4's Kristen Cozzo is live in Lake Arrowhead with more on what investigators are calling Operation Bear Claw. Christian.
So first of all, I just want to say for everybody out there in the audience and those of you who have trouble with your listening skills, I do not support crime. I am not somebody who's in favor of insurance fraud, as they call it. I'm not into it, can't play with it, can't mess with it. That being said, everything about this story brings me immense joy, including the fact that the investigators decided to name their operation to bust this up Operation Bear Claw, and the fact that the local news is so excited to be doing this story. Again, look at this man right here as he's getting his orders from the person in the studio. He is rubbing his hands with excitement. He wants to talk about it. I want to talk about it. You guys want to hear about it because it involves somebody dressing up as a bear. This is quite literally a Scooby-Doo level plot, and while Velma is now some woke-ass nonsensical show, the Mystery Machine did come through in this particular operation and busted them up, unmasked them, and yes, it was a financial scheme to the surprise of anyone who hasn't seen Scooby-Doo.
That's right. The details in this case are very interesting because we have someone that dressed up in a bear costume and staged a fake bear attack.
So this guy says, look, the details of this particular case are very interesting because somebody dressed up in a bear costume and staged a bear attack. Yeah, that's actually quite literally the whole story, and the details of that are not as interesting as you're portraying them, even though I find them to be fascinating, even though I find them to be hilarious, especially since when you look at the video, a lot of people are being hypercritical because now they know that this isn't a real bear, but I actually think they did a reasonably good job of simulating a bear in a car on some grainy surveillance footage. Again, if you didn't give this a second look, if it wasn't for the fact that they did multiple claims on this particular thing and these people were somewhat related, I think they would have gotten away with it. And yes, my microphone is floating away from me and I'm trying to tap it back into place, and for whatever reason, it is deciding not to comply.
As a result, 4 people have been arrested for scamming several insurance companies, and today I have to tell you, several neighbors are speaking out about what happened.
So there's a few things that I want to talk about. One, the fact that they have to pull in the neighbors in order to speak out about this particular incident, to me, is absurd in every possible way. Secondly, they're about to show you the video right here, and I just want you to pay attention to the bear costume, to how it looks, again, on this black and white surveillance video, because I think they did a better job than they get credit for. However, you will find out throughout the course of this particular video, through this news segment, that these are some wealthy individuals who don't need the money, or shouldn't need the money, that are scamming the system.
Watch carefully as a California insurance claim reported a bear entered their 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost and destroyed it. The California Department of Insurance releasing the surveillance video captured on Beachfront Drive the evening of January 28, 2024.
So obviously you guys heard that this was a Rolls-Royce and this was a very expensive car, and despite the fact that I said, based on the footage that I had seen with the person in the bear costume in the backseat, that it actually looked pretty good, in reality, I gotta say that I was definitely wrong. Honestly, I totally mess up this. This looks like the fakest, most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm changing my position midstream, mid-episode, and you know what? We're all the better for it, because you can actually see that this is a very skinny bear, an emaciated bear, but at one point in time, the bear, wink wink, uses the steering wheel to balance. I mean, come on. You gotta do a better job than that. And again, if your plan, if your plot was to tear up a motor vehicle, a Rolls Royce, like like a bear, why didn't you shoot this from further away? Why didn't you make the video even more grainy, even more low quality? Why didn't you do what you needed to do to make this work? And I think the insurance claim adjuster that approved some of these earlier claims should honestly be ashamed of himself or herself, because this is really bad. This is really no bueno, and I think I could have done a better job. In fact, if you guys support this channel, I will get a bear costume, and I will commit insurance fraud the proper way so that you will be impressed. In fact, a color camera will not be able to catch my level of bear-like destruction in this particular scenario.
There's a bear breaking into cars. Why haven't we heard about this?
Devin Skoskovsky lives on this quiet Lake Arrowhead street and was taken back about the attack.
We're all connected. The neighbors sharing their ring footage, if there is a bear spotted or a mountain lion or deer or coyotes or anything. And so we're always on top of it.
So a couple of things that I need to point out for everybody in the audience. One, the neighbor being brought in this particular scenario, talking about how she was upset that she wasn't informed about this potential bear attack. To me, don't care about it at all. That being said, I also have to make commentary. And look, I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't like talking about people's appearances, but why do women do that thing with their eyebrows? Does anybody know? Is anybody aware of that? I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I know this is off topic, but somebody tell me why down in the comments below.
The state investigating the claim after two similar but separate claims were filed to other insurance companies, including a 2015 and a 2022 Mercedes. Each claim stating a bear attack and video.
Now look, I find it more ridiculous every time they show this footage because I said this looked kind of realistic, kind of believable, but the more I see it, the more I realize that this is embarrassing. And also, in addition to this, the more I think that the insurance claim adjuster that approves some of these claims definitely needs to be fired. Apparently, bear attacks aren't even that common in and around this area, let alone bears getting specifically into luxury vehicles in order to tear them up, let alone bears using the steering wheel in order to balance themselves.
I haven't actually ever heard of a bear attack up here, but I have seen coyotes. It just sounds unusual. But again, there is wildlife here, so.
Investigators say a biologist with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife confirmed the bear was fake. They say the alleged animal didn't leave a trace like saliva, urine, or hair, and the scratches didn't match the animal's claw.
Look, another reason why this insurance scam was kind of destined to fail is because in states like the state of California, in states that have this kind of wildlife, there are protocols that end up happening once you report a bear sighting or a bear attack in those particular regions. So they actually send out the animal experts in order to scrutinize the scenes that you're talking about. And in this particular case, when you have a bunch of idiots in a costume and just some makeshift bear claws that are completely uniform, you know for a fact that the scientists are going to be able to tell that this is not actually a bear. On top of that, no saliva, no urine, no trails or anything like that. And again, it is just a short path to you being arrested once the police figure out it's suspicious, and then they look into you guys and figure out that one of you bought a large bear costume, obviously right before you ended up doing this. This is what we call fraud, insurance fraud, and honestly, it's not that believable. It is less impressive now that I think about it, although it is still funny and it's still creative, and again, it is still a Scooby-Doo-like villain proposal in order to dress up like something scary in order to commit a financial crime.
I couldn't really tell. I mean, I couldn't tell. Like, I couldn't tell if it was bear because it's black and white and you see like something moving in the car.
You know what? I appreciate Dino de Blasio right here for saying that he couldn't tell either. The video's black and white, it's grainy, it's low quality, it's confusing, and everyone and anyone who said in the comments that I'm a dumb idiot, just take that up with Mr. Dino or Dino de Blasio because he has the right idea. It is a little bit confusing upon first look, although I think that early video where they're getting in on the passenger side and touching the steering wheel, that is the biggest red flag. That is obviously the most attention-grabbing version of these clips.
4 people from LA County were arrested according to the state after a search warrant revealed this bear costume was found inside their home, which they believe was used in the scam. It's unclear if the group was visiting or part of the mountain community.
Look, I just want to say for the 4 people that were arrested in connection with this crime, allegedly, of course I'm going to say allegedly, but when the police execute a search warrant on you guys post this suspicious attack with no saliva and no evidence of an actual bear in there, and then the video looks that bad, and then they find the costume and the claws that were likely used by said bear that happened to probably match the exact same pattern as those scratch marks as found in the car, you're pretty much dead to rights. You're pretty much busted right here. You got to do something with this bear costume, but the problem with this particular scenario, and this is something that criminals often experience, is that they got too greedy. They didn't actually decide to quit while they're ahead, and this is always what ends up being a successful criminal's undoing, is that they keep going back to the well, and eventually you're going to set off a red flag. One bear attack with one grainy video, one insurance claim, you're probably going to get away with it. You're probably not going to get the attention of law enforcement and all these different various agencies, but they kept going multiple different times, and at a certain point, they have to investigate the possibility of a savage bear smashing into everybody's cars, or whether or not this claim makes any sense to begin with. This was always going to lead to them getting caught because they kept going back to the well, and in reality, what they needed to do is once and then quit while they're ahead. Now again, here on the Actual Justice Warrior channel, we do not support criminality or anything of the sort. One of the things that is unfortunate about criminals is that they do not have that foresight. They can't really see ahead. They're making decisions based on impulse, even when they have some planning. It's not fully thought out, and this is a perfect example of that.
We're all hurting in this economy, but you're hurting our community with giving us a bad name and giving our wildlife a bad name.
Now look, one of the reasons why I didn't think that the neighbors being interviewed was all that valuable was due to the fact that when neighbors get interviewed in a goofy story like this, they end up saying dumb stuff like that. She's like, you're giving our community a bad name, which I can understand on a certain level. You live in an area in the wilderness, people might get scared to go up there, scared to visit there because they think there's bear attacks, but then she said, you're giving the wildlife a bad name. Like, they defamed the bear. This woman is angry that the insurance scammers didn't scam the insurance companies, which causes premiums to go up for everyone and ends up having a broader impact on society than most people realize. She's mad that they defamed the reputation of the bears. Of the bears that, by the way, other people say aren't even that common in and around this area. That's her issue. Again, she's just a regular normal person. She's just a civilian. I apologize for even highlighting her all this much. But again, this is why you don't need to interview this lady for this particular segment, because she's talking about defamation of the bear, and I'm trying to talk about people doing Scooby-Doo stuff, and obviously I'm way more serious than her.
And the California Department of Insurance tells us the insurance companies involved were scammed of more than $140,000. The San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office telling us all of those details are all part of the investigation that they are now prosecuting.
Again, what did I say earlier on? They got too greedy. They were able to scam $140,000 plus of payments out of these insurance companies, and they thought nobody would notice. They thought they would be able to get away with it. This is why it is very important to quit while you're ahead. But of course, I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. Now, if you like this video, you can show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social media, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about insurance fraud bear edition. Till next time.